Good morning, everyone. I'm sorry I can't be with you this morning, but yesterday I came down with the flu, and then it was compounded by the fact that my pilot said he was not going to fly into your airspace because of the bad weather and icing conditions. And with the flu, I decided not to drive that lengthy trip in the middle of the night to get up here this morning at 7 o'clock. So I'm doing it by YouTube. So let us begin. First, I want to thank Mr. Dan Hauser for being the chairman of this event. Everything that I've asked him to do since I came on as president of the board, this man has stepped forward and helped us. The same applies to my good friend, John Friedenbach. He's always there when I need him. Now, the man who braved the weather is our scout executive, Jerry Wells, who traveled up yesterday so he could be with you today, and then he's going to travel all the way back. So let's get on with our event today. The name of this event is Excellence in the Making. And Boy Scouts is just that. Excellence in the making. And my job today is to tell you one of those stories that I happen to be aware of. This is a story about a 12-year-old boy who was living on the wrong side of the tracks, and there was two gangs fighting over him, and somehow this man in a brown shirt and a neckerchief talked him into joining the Boy Scouts. What intrigued him about joining the Boy Scouts was that if he became an Eagle Scout, he could be just like an eagle and soar alone and get through life by himself and be safe because he would learn how to take care of himself. This 12-year-old boy went on to be an Eagle Scout at the age of 16. 3 months after he was an Eagle Scout, he ran away from home. And he never went back. And for good reason. As a young boy, his parents whipped him, beat him all the time. His mother beat him with rosebush switches just so she could show the husband what kind of job she was doing with her discipline. And the father used to whip him with a strap that he had drilled holes in to make it hurt more. So at the age of 16 and a half, this boy ran away from home, never to return. He did make it on his own. And at the age of 18, he volunteered to go into the United States Army. Now, he didn't have a high school diploma. Through the Army, he got his GED, and he went on to get a master's degree in philosophy from the University of Heidelberg. But when he first joined the Army, he was immediately made a squad leader, this high school dropout, because he was an Eagle Scout. When the boy came home, he went to work as a reporter, somehow got involved in political campaigns, and ran dozens of them, and ended up on the national staff of one of the national parties. It's not the one, however, that Dan Hauser's identified with. It's one of those other parties. Anyway, he did White House Advance and ended up doing 44 years in the business. I want you to know I am that boy. And if it wasn't for the Boy Scouts of America, I would not be here today. I'm here today because of the Boy Scouts, and for one good, solid, empirical reason that I can prove. Only 2 boys my age ever made it out of my neighborhood. They were all killed, died on overdose of drugs, and only 2 of us made it out. I was one of them. I would not have made it out if it hadn't been for the Boy Scouts of America. I was a child at risk. And the Boy Scouts saved my life. That's excellence in the making, because it took a child at risk, gave him the tools he needed so he could survive on his own like an Eagle Scout. Now, I also want to share a story with you of another boy who became an Eagle Scout. This boy was having a time getting things done the right way because he was what was known as ADD. Hard to keep focused on anything. And one day he went to his father and he says, I want to join the Boy Scouts. And his father said, you're 16 years old. If you were to go into the Boy Scouts, you'd have to start with 11 and 12-year-old boy starts and work your way up. And the boy said to his father, you're having so much fun. I want to go do it with you. Now this boy turned in his final papers 1 hour and 45 minutes before the close of business at the Boy Scout office on his 18th birthday and became an Eagle Scout. That boy is my son. My son went on to Iraq. When he came home from his first tour of duty, he said to me, Dad, you know, I wouldn't have made it on this tour of duty if I hadn't learned the things I did in Boy Scouts. I said, without getting too heavy with me, give me an example. And he said, well, in the Stryker Brigade, you know, where these one unit vehicles where everything is inside, all the men are inside, and you have a turret and you go through places and use all sorts of electronic means to see where you're going, then you get out and go do your thing. But on the side of the vehicles, you have tied down other pieces of equipment you need from time at different times. And he says, Dad, we were the only ones, the only vehicle in the entire brigade that never lost any of its equipment. And I said, why? And he says, Dad, we knew how to use knots, and we tied knots that the United States Army had never heard of. And of course, as you all know, the clove hitches are real good with that sort of thing, and he used it a lot. Many of you know that my son did not make it home from his second tour. It wasn't until a couple years later that I found out how my son was actually killed in combat. He was a squad leader, and his squad was pinned down by sniper fire. He worked his way up to the top of a building, he and his assistant squad leader, to draw fire so the rest of his squads in group of 2 could move out into a more secure area. He did that by putting himself in harm's way and to draw the fire while they were running from one area to another. They did it 3 times. And on the 3rd time, they were waiting for Jesse. But Jesse did what eagles do. Jesse did what was required of him. His job was to make sure his squad was safe. And he did that. And I know it's a true story. Or why would the Chief of Staff of the United States Army send a general to speak Jesse's eulogy from Washington, D.C.? It's unheard of. I'm proud of my son. And the Boy Scouts of America helped make him the man that he was. It helped him to become a great leader. It helped him to be compassionate. It made him a good father. Again, that's excellence in the making. My reason for talking to you today is to give you 2 very personal examples for which I am so familiar, to let you know that today we want you to help us do more of this, reach out to more children, more young boys who are children at risk through the Boy Scouts of America. Times are tough. I know it, and everyone in this room here this morning knows it. But the kids are still out there. We still need to be helping them. And so this morning, help us move another step in our search of excellence. Help us by making a contribution. If all of you in this room would today, or over the next 2 or 3 years, pledge $300 today or more, I'm not going to hold you down at $300 here, but $300 or more over the next 3 years, we would raise a lot of money that we desperately need to do greater outreach than we're doing today because times are tough. Now, all of your tables have a table host. That person has an envelope, and in the envelope are some pens and some pledge forms. I hope all of you will take a few minutes of your time, fill out a pledge, share with us your funds, your support, and pledge whatever you can over the next year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, lifetime, but we need your help. So today I ask you, excellence in the making, please help us get there. Thank you very much.